So what if I told you that just one single word, is the difference between feeling completely stuck and, well, unlocking your full potential? Today, we're diving into a powerful mental reset that all comes down to the kinds of questions you ask yourself. You know that feeling, right? You're staring down a huge challenge. Could be a financial goal, a big career move, a massive project, and your brain just freezes. You just spin your wheels, totally overwhelmed by how big it all is, and you end up doing nothing at all. It sounds almost too simple to be true, but that feeling of paralysis, it often comes from a single three-letter word. It's a question we're all taught to ask, but it can secretly sabotage our progress before we even get started. And that word is how. So let's break this down. Let's look at exactly why this one little question can completely paralyze our brains and stop us dead in our tracks. Think about it. When we ask, how am I going to do this? Our brain doesn't see a clear, simple path. Nope. Instead, it immediately starts scanning for all the missing pieces, the money you don't have, the skills you haven't learned, the time you just can't find. It is a perfect recipe for instant overwhelm. And this quote from Tony Robbins just nails it. The whole idea is that it's not about having all the answers right away. It's about asking the right questions, the kinds of questions that actually energize you instead of shutting you down. Okay, to really get this, let's imagine there are two competing voices inside your head. We're going to call them the critic and the architect. So first up, there's the critic. This is that nagging voice of doubt, right? It's the part of you that immediately jumps in with, how will you ever afford that? Or how could you possibly pull that off? The critic is an absolute expert at finding problems. But then there's the architect. This is your inner builder, your problem solver. The architect doesn't waste time asking how. It asks a much, much more powerful question. What can I do right now to move forward? And the neuroscience here is really cool. The critic's how question tends to trigger the amygdala. That's our primitive, fight or flight center. It floods you with stress. But the architect's what question, that engages our prefrontal cortex, the hub for creativity and high-level planning. So one creates stress, the other creates possibilities. So the whole game is making a conscious shift from one question to the other. Let's dig into why the word what is the real key to unlocking action. You see, the magic of asking what is that it grounds you in the present moment. Instead of trying to solve the entire 1,000-piece puzzle all at once, it forces your brain to just look for the single, smallest next step. It shifts your focus from what you lack to what you already have, from the giant mountain to the very next step right in front of you. Now, this all sounds great in theory, but how do you actually do it? In the moment when you feel that paralysis creeping in? Well, it's a really simple two-step process. The second you hear that paralyzing how question pop into your head, the first step is to just stop. That's it. Acknowledge it. You can even say to yourself, there's the critic again. Then, step 2 is to consciously rewrite that question. Let's use a super common example. The critic screams, how will I ever pay for this? That question immediately brings up feelings of scarcity and fear and hopelessness. It's a total dead end. But just watch what happens when we rewrite it. What's the first step I can take to improve my finances? See? Suddenly, your brain starts searching for solutions. Maybe it's just opening your banking app to review your budget. Maybe it's Googling a side hustle. It doesn't matter how small the step is. What matters is that it's an action. It gives you back control. And this mental reset isn't just about small, quick fixes. When you consistently practice this shift, you move from just reacting to problems to actively designing your own solutions. The ultimate goal here is to get to a state called coherence. This is where there's no internal friction. Your long-term vision, your core beliefs, and your daily actions are all perfectly lined up, all pointing in the same direction. There's no part of you fighting against another part. And the way you get there is by asking a series of these architect-style what questions. First, what is the ultimate goal? That sets your vision. Second, what must I believe about myself to achieve this? That aligns your mindset. And third, what is the very next action I can take? That drives progress. This stack, it creates unstoppable momentum. So here's the bottom line. That feeling of being stuck is often a choice, and it's driven by the questions we ask. By shifting your internal dialogue, you move from being a victim of your circumstances to becoming the architect of your life. The power isn't somewhere out there, it's right inside you in the questions you choose to ask. And that leaves us with just one final, powerful question. Now that you have the tools of the architect, what's the first thing you're going to start building today?